The most important thing I feel is to like what you do. If you don't like it, it's not going to succeed. It may, but it's not going to satisfy you. It might satisfy your customer. But at the end of the day, I can go to sleep knowing that I've had a good day because I've done something that I enjoy. That to me was more important than the money.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Behind the Small Business Podcast. My name is Kevin Dandino. I am really glad to be here with you once again. We got another fantastic business owner, Sharon Ellis of Ain't That Sweet. She'll be here in just a minute to share her story. Well, she is here, but we'll let her speak in just a second. But first off, guys, make sure we get through all the other stuff. This is brought to you by Centennial State Insurance Agency. If you're looking for any kind of insurance quote, personal or commercial, please reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to get you a quote and set you up today. Also, if you are a small business owner that wants to share your story on this podcast, feel free to reach out to us, and we would be more than happy to set you up on a future episode to allow you to share your story as well. So with that being said, let's get into today's guest. Sharon, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Hope all's well with you too.
Good over here. I mean, if you like summer, you're getting plenty of summer weather.
Yes, we are.
It's not my style, but I know a lot of people like it. So,
well, I work from home, so I don't go out that much. So for me, it's not an issue at all.
There you go. Perfect. Well, seriously, Sharon, thank you for taking the time to come on here today and share your story. And I kind of want to hear more about you and your business. Ain't That Sweet? Looks like you got a ton of stuff going on over there. And so we'll break that down. But yeah, just start by telling us a little bit about you and kind of what made you want to be a small business owner.
Well, I've always been an entrepreneur of some sort. I've worked for small businesses prior to this one. I left Illinois, followed my grandkids to Texas, didn't like my job there, and decided that, heck, if I'm going to do something and it's going to be based around my grandkids, I'm going to do something I enjoy. So yeah. I used to own a candy business, hence the name Ain't That Sweet. The cottage industry laws here are a little more strict than Illinois and Texas. So I reinvented the wheel and made my grandkids some clothes and thought, oh, I like this. So I wasn't doing embroidery. And then I got into sublimation, vinyl, things like that, but realized my real passion was creating the designs. So got rid of all my equipment, went into just designs, and realized that, I better test these. So I got all my equipment back, and that's how my basement evolved into a full studio down here. So
that's great. And working from home and everything, you said, like, that's got to give you a lot of options too and everything. So
it does.
That's just nice. But I kind of want to hear more about, so walk me back a little bit. You were an owner of a candy store out in Illinois first, right? And that was a small business that you started as well?
I did. I was one of the small businesses that, fortunately, where we lived, I was able to do it from my home. I sold all the candy molds, the supplies. I did hand-dipped candies for weddings, bar mitzvahs, sweet 16s, everything like that. And at the same time, I held a full-time job at a jewelry store. So I have always been a multitasker in many ways. I loved what I did. Yeah. There's that old saying, if you like what you do, you never work a day in your life. I guess I can say I've never really worked because I've always loved every job I've had. But when I moved, Colorado has stricter cottage industry laws for food and sanitation. And although I do have those licenses, or I did, they weren't what I wanted to do anymore. So I researched a little bit. I found a lot of people were using a Cricut, which is a vinyl cutter. I have a hard time being dyslexic, reading different things. So I went with a Silhouette because I felt it was an easier format to learn. I fell in love with it. I've been doing it since 2016 and have created over, conservatively, maybe 8,000 or 10,000 designs.
Wow.
I have probably about 5,000 on my website. I don't have a chance to list all the ones I've done, but I'm fortunate that I love what I do, and I'm hoping it comes across in what I do. I have over 500 customers across the world that will reach out to me on a regular basis and say, hey, I've seen this. Can you tweak it your way and make it mine? So I do that for a lot of independent sellers as well as for my website. That's where I get most of my ideas are from customers. And
Yeah.
I love what I do. So,
Yeah. I think that's, to take a step, not just into one business, but then to start from scratch. I think you have to know ahead of time. I mean, that this is something you're passionate about, right? That this is something that's not just going to pass by and in 5, 10 years, you're like, okay, I'm sick of this now. I want something else. Right. So, well, what was that like to kind of, and maybe some of the struggles or problems you had to overcome, challenges you had to overcome when you
well,
were, not just moving, but starting a new business?
the hard part was getting initial customers. I
Mm,
don't know people in Colorado. I still don't have very many acquaintances here. I have one or two people that I'm close with, and that's about it because we transplanted from another state. So all my friends are in a different state.
yeah.
I ended up, I did sell on Etsy for a while. I did very well there. Had a little issue with selling a product I shouldn't have. So there was a parting of the ways there, which actually for me was a good thing. I was
Okay.
able to overcome that. I had built up several clientele lists for different aspects of the business, and they all decided to stick with me and not continue to buy just from Etsy. So, with those as a fan base, and I call them a fan base because they've shared my information with their friends and their business
Sure.
associates, it was very good for me. It affords me the flexibility of doing what I want. One of my first designs was for my grandchildren for Christmas and Hanukkah. We're a blended family or a mixed family.
Yeah.
So I got to do every holiday and I fell in love with the designing. So I did that. I did embroidery. I did the cut vinyl. I do tumblers and mugs and things like that. And I was enjoying them myself. And someone said to me, would you mind making something for me? And that's how it actually became a business and not just for personal use. And then I got onto Etsy. I had over 28,000 sales on Etsy in less than 4 years, which
Wow.
from someone that didn't know what she was doing,
For
I
sure.
grew. And it just, they say, I say, if I can put a smile on someone's face, my mission for the day is complete. I did that. I love when they will call me and they'll say, thank you so much. I love that. Let's see if we can do something else.
Yeah.
So that's how I got started. And it's been a blast ever since. Um,
Right. Well,
I
I
think
think that's a story that I think a lot of people would share sentiment with. When you
mhm,
open a new business, one of the very first things is how do we get people in the door? How do we get people to sign up or are aware of us, right? And that takes time, and that's part of why so many small businesses fold in the first 5 years is they just don't generate the income, right? The profit to stay afloat. Um, and so I think your approach there, and I kind of hear a little bit more about it in specifics, but um, it sounds like you are a very people-minded approach, right? And it's not just, okay, tell me what you want and I'll design it. It'll be my design. Tell me what you want and I'm going to design it to what you're looking for. So how do you kind of, what's your approach when you come to like dealing with a new client, or how do you spend time getting to know them? Kind of like, what's your approach to just that kind of
I
setup?
ask them what it's for, who it's for, and if it's more than just one time use or whether they're going to use it for other things. And it's worked out very well. A lot of times I say, you know what? Search the web, find something you like, let me know, and we'll put our spin on it. So
There
that's
you
what
go.
we've done. And it really has progressed so much. I started this particular type of business in 2016. So I've been around for a while. As they say, I've been around the block.
Yeah.
And it's grown and changed so much in 9 years. I've grown and changed in the way that I do
Yeah.
things, in the quality of my work. I sit there and I look at some of my original things and I kind of want to cringe inside, but they were acceptable. I still have people buying the designs I made 9 years ago. So I can't say that they're not still usable, but
Yeah.
with all the new formats out there, it has grown exponentially. And I love the way the direction has taken. I've gone from just making things for ourselves to doing, I still do advertising for a company in Chicago. I do
Okay.
those emails on a regular basis. I do a lot of the different things for them. So I still keep my hand in the corporate world, but my favorite is a one-on-one with a customer. They'll send me a picture. One lady recently sent me a picture her grandson had drawn, and the husband tweaked it a little bit and said, "Can you make this so I can put it on a shirt?" Well, trying to take a line drawing and copying it so that I can make it broad enough to cut out in vinyl,
Yeah.
it takes a little time, but I love what I do. And that for me, I think it shows in my work. People are always saying, "Thank you, that worked out great." The people loved it. I've done family reunions. I still
Yeah.
do things locally. I'm in a Buy Nothing group. And a lot of times people will say, "Does anybody have this design on a shirt?" Or "I'm looking for a first birthday shirt." And if nobody
Mhm.
steps up to the plate and says, "I've got one to give you," I have probably 150 t-shirts in my basement. So I will reach out to them and say, "Look, I can't charge you. It's a Buy Nothing group, but what would you like?" And I've done that for so many different people in the group, but that's such satisfaction when you see them and they send me pictures and say, "Oh, my son loved his shirt. The first birthday was wonderful because of it." It makes, it just
Yeah.
makes life worthwhile. So,
Well, here you are in a position to create something that's going to help make memories.
yes.
You're talking about family get-togethers, reunions, birthdays, heck, graduations, weddings,
Yeah.
any kind of event,
Yeah.
right? That people would want some sort of design for, whether it's on a shirt or any kind of other project. It sounds like you can. I'm slightly familiar with the Crickets, kind of stuff and what they can. It seems like you can do pretty much everything.
Yes.
But it's cool that you're kind of in that position where you're able to help them make memories,
I do.
and that's got to give you some
It does.
happiness.
It gives me that warm, fuzzy feeling where if I can make someone smile, I've done what I can. I don't know if you ever heard of the movie. Robin Williams was in it, and it's called Robots. There's a
Mhm.
line in there that says, "See a need, fill a need." Now, I've never seen the movie. I've only listened to it about 300 times. It was what played when I would drive my grandkids back and forth to Chicago. And
Gotcha.
I one day I will actually take it out of the case and play it. But that line stuck with me. See a need, fill a need. And if I can do that with God's grace, I will do that every day as much as I can. The fact that I can make money doing it makes it a little bit of a better, perk. But
Yeah.
I love helping people, and that's what I do. I try and help people bring things to fruition that will make them look good.
Yeah.
So
And I kind of want to ask, this is something that I would imagine when people are either for their business or, if I had an event, the first thing I would do is go online and type in, custom shirts or, custom designs, and you'd get just overwhelmed with all these sponsored links, right? I don't want to name any specific company out there, but we all know, I'm sure you're very familiar with them. How do you combat, what you provide? Or maybe not combat's too strong of a word, but how do you differentiate yourself from some of these bigger companies that might be easier to find? People might just, hey, let me just sit down on the internet and do it by myself, right? Like, why would somebody want to go for or with you and your business versus sitting down online and doing it there?
Well, the hard thing is I cannot compete with their prices.
Sure.
They are mass produced. It makes it a little bit more difficult. I try and let people know, look, I will work with you as close as I can. I will take your design. If you have an idea, I will send them ideas. I try and work very closely to bring what they want to completion. I've got somebody that called me about a wedding in Virginia, and I'm working on that now. I said I'll make some different favors and things like that. It's a repeat company, a repeat family, I should say, that I've done things for in the past. So I'm always trying to keep in touch. I do have to do better with emails. I'm not great with that because I spend so much time creating. But reaching out and saying, "Look, work with me. Let me see what you want, and let's put something together." So that's where I excel. A lot of times I work with other people that do the finished goods. So I create the designs for them. I get no glory for it, but I know that when they've got that logo for a tree for a family reunion or something like that, and they put it on 100 shirts, they're getting the accolades that they deserve, and then they'll reach out to me and say, look, everybody loved it. And for me, that's what's most important. Money is wonderful, but
Mhm.
the little bit of tingly and happiness that you get when you make someone else look good is also a benefit. So I do, like I said, some individual businesses. I work with some of those. I have done ceramic mugs with logos on them. There's a realtor that I work with for, this is my third year working with her. I make koozies for her to pass out at an event in March. She does the shamrock and things like that. So it's repeat business that really counts. And then if she needs something, she needed a picture frame personalized for her parents. So she said to me, can you do that? And I said, sure. I can put their names on it, the grandkids' names, whatever you want, I'll do that for you. So it's not just filling one need, it's things that will progress and go on for something else. So
Yeah. Well, and for me personally, while all of these maybe larger companies, maybe they're cheaper, easier to access, whatever, any of these number of things, right? I, I want to know the person on the other side of the phone. Like, I want to know that when my order gets submitted, I know who it's going to. I
yes.
want to know that there's somebody on the other side. I can pick up the phone and say, hey, I want to make a change, or hey, I had a question, and not worry about, okay, well, now I got to wait on hold and I got to press the right button, to send me to the right person. And I don't know where they are or any of those things. Right. So I think for me, that personal touch, is what really makes me want to go out of my way. And maybe it's a little bit more expensive, but I know the quality of what I'm going to get is, backed up. You can look at the experience of the person, someone like you, and then just have that warm fuzzy that, hey, everything will be taken care of, and that's
Absolutely.
to me, that's worth the extra money.
Yes. Some people don't feel that way. And then you know what?
Sure.
I just say, thank you very much for the opportunity, but I think you're
Yeah.
better off calling someone else. But yes, for me, the one-on-one, whether it's via email or text or a phone call, I try and help whichever way I can. And that's where I feel I excel, is that I do give that one-on-one personalized service. So
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And it's something that I think just people miss out on nowadays. Everything is just so instantaneous. You just hit that order button on your phone and it's there the next day, right? But there's something about when you need a product or a service and you need to call someone, and they're local, and you just know that they're not out for making big bucks at the end of the day. They want to make sure that you're taken care of as a client, which is exactly kind of what I'm getting from you. Is like, that's the priority, making somebody's day,
yep.
and bringing that joy to yourself and to them. And then you get money for it too. Like, just because, hey, I got to survive too, right?
Well,
That's just part of the game, but
to do what I love.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. And how many people can really say that? Yeah.
that's true. That's true.
So with you having kind of this interesting experience of having, a previous business and a new business here. Well, new isn't from 2016, but two businesses. What are some maybe, pieces of advice that, over the years that you'd like to maybe pass on to somebody who's newer, or wanting to start a new business and maybe just kind of shy because of how large of a leap of faith it really is? But lots of lessons learned, I'm sure, through the
Absolutely.
experiences and everything. So, kind of anything that stands out there.
The most important thing I feel is to like what you do. If you don't like it, it's not going to succeed. It may, but it's not going to satisfy you. It might satisfy your customer, but at the end of the day, I can go to sleep knowing that I've had a good day because I've done something that I enjoy. That to me was more important than the money. I worked for a jewelry store in Chicago and loved it. I worked for a jewelry store in Texas. It was one of the worst experiences
Oh,
because
geez.
I did not like the people. I love the people. I didn't like the management.
Yeah.
So for me, it was just a job. What I do now, this is, I don't want to say a way of life, but it's playing all day long at something I love. And the fact that I can make some money at the same time, that's an extra perk. So
Yeah.
find something that makes you happy. And if you can find something that makes you happy, you'll make others happy.
Yeah.
That's, I think important.
That's well said. It's not just about you sustaining your business, but if you can use what your joy, what brings you happiness, to put a smile on somebody else's face.
Yeah.
I think so many business owners we've had on, if not every single one of them, to be honest, I'm just saying this, there's a common theme there, and they all love what they do. And when they start talking about what they do, they're kind of like yours. Their face lights up, and it's just like, this is their passion, and they love helping people on the other side get whatever service, whether it's car repair or they need flowers for an event. Bringing that passion out is what really, I think, not just sustains the business, but gives the business its identity.
Absolutely. No, it really does. It makes you feel good, not just about yourself, but what you're doing for others. In my particular situation, if I'm making others look good, I might not get it myself, but the customer that I've sold my design to and they do the finished goods, they'll always come back and say, my customer loved it. So that to me is important. I've made someone else look good. It's not just about me. It's what I can do for others.
Yeah.
So,
well, kind of speaking about that, what you can do for others and that mindset, kind of curious. And this is a common question I like to bring up because I think as small business owners, we're kind of in this, unique position where, it's not just about helping out other small businesses, but giving back to the community too. And a lot of it is, there's a level there of I want to help out my community. It does kind of help bring about awareness of my business and the services I provide, products I provide. But there's something about just that community bonding, right? And whether it's volunteering or doing, like, I remember we had one guest, I can't remember her name right now, but she was talking about she finds things that are passionate to her, whether it's the holidays or something, and she uses her business to kind of flow into that. So from your perspective, how do you approach community involvement? And everyone has their own unique little thing. So it's always fun to hear how they approach it. So I want to ask you that too.
Well, I think I touched on it before. There's a couple of buy nothing groups, and I've gotten very involved in two of them. One of them split, and now it's in another one. But I like to help people. And if I see something where they're asking for a tumbler or a gift, or they've got something that, like a first birthday, I've done several of those. I've done third birthdays. I've done anniversary gifts. In the buy nothing group, you can't charge anything. But if I see that nobody is responding, then I will reach out to the person and say, look, what are you looking for exactly? Reach out to me. Let me create it for you. I will not charge you, but it'll give me the satisfaction of doing something for a local situation. Yeah. And I've done them also for fundraisers where somebody is trying. Okay. There was a incident recently where somebody passed away and they were doing a fundraiser. So I just said, you know what, let me go ahead and make some things and you can do whatever you want with the product. So I've done that on several occasions. In fact, I've also done candy and things like that. I don't do a lot of candy here because I can't make money off it. Yeah. But when I see there's a need in the community, I try and fill it, whether it's creating the design or for a fundraiser or doing the shirts for the local, little kids, especially. Little kids are it's my kryptonite, Yeah, I see a kid that wants something and man, I'm Johnny on the spot to get it for them. But it's important to help others in your area where you live.
Yeah. But I think exactly from your standpoint too, like those are very it's maybe not on a widespread scale, right? It's not hundreds or thousands of people all at once, but you're impacting the life of somebody in a very meaningful way in that moment, right? That's probably something community. If it's, yeah, exactly. And if it's in a no buy group, I know I haven't really played around with those too much, but I'm guessing it's for a reason, right? There's got to be a reason why they're looking for something that they can't really maybe afford right now. And so to step up and say, hey, let me help you out. Like that's a small act of kindness that you tie to your business. But it's, again, I think some business owners might think that community involvement, has to entail giving out a ton of money or sponsoring some big event. And it doesn't necessarily have to be. Correct. It's just little things like that can go so far.
And it's giving of your time. Yeah. Yes, you've got product, you've paid for it, things like that. But helping someone we've all been there at some point. I mean, we had something
Yep.
happen to us 2 years ago, and it rocked my world. It literally almost destroyed me. But I took that situation and realized that if I can pull out of this myself, I'm going to help others do the same thing. So I had people help me, and now I want to be able to give back to the community and help them. So
It's all about paying it forward, right?
absolutely, absolutely.
I don't think there's a single business owner out there who's gotten to where they are without some sort of help along the way.
Yes.
And there's not a bad thing about that. But
Mm.
hey, when you're in a position to pay it forward, that can go a long ways, a very
Yes.
long ways. Well, Sharon, I do want to give you a few minutes here to kind of give everybody some information on how they can find you and any other information that you want them to know about you and your business. But it is so awesome just to hear, all the business owners, to include you, just have so much passion about what they do. And again, if there's, there's a lot of themes, but one of the bigger ones I've seen through all of these is just, you have to care about what you do. And it's very clear that's exactly what you do.
I do. And I love what I do. And I say that all the time. People will say you glow when you talk about what you do.
Yeah.
And I do. I consider it a gift to be able to do what I love. And I don't want to say how old I am, but I'm old. And I've never held a job that I haven't loved, except for that 1 year when I was in Texas. So I guess I have worked for about 11 and a half months. But other than that, I get to play all day long on my computer. I play with an embroidery machine. I play with my silhouette cutter. I love the software that I use. I'm fortunate that I've been able to mentor some people and help them grow their business. There's a lady lives in Indiana. We became very good friends on Facebook. I helped her get started in her business. And this past February, she actually flew from Indiana here, stayed with me in my home. The bond that we created.
Yeah.
And we sat down, she looked at my computer because I have one of these widescreen monitors.
Okay, yeah.
And she said to me, "Oh my gosh." But I showed her how to do some of the different things. That to me was so exciting because we had talked for about 8 years. I met her when I first started on Etsy, and we continued after I left Etsy. We continued. I did a lot of designs for her. And she said to me, "Do you mind if I come visit you? Is there a hotel nearby?" I said, "No problem. Just come and stay with me." And she goes,
"Right."
And I said, "Sure." So she did. She came for a long weekend. She was here about 4 days, and she just stayed with me, sat by my side. I showed her what I could. I think I actually got more out of it than she did, because showing somebody what I do really made it special to her. And it gives you that warm, fuzzy feeling that you're helping someone grow. And now she's doing all these different shows in Indiana, selling her product and getting things out there. So
I think that's a good example of, like, I get that some business owners are very just protective of what they do and the products they make, and maybe like their system, how they do things, because they have a competitive edge. And I get that to a degree, but there's nothing wrong with sharing a little bit, helping somebody else out, and using your skills and talents to support them along the way. And those kinds of stories, yeah, I mean, when you can connect two business owners like that, or multiple, and they support each other to that degree, like that's what it's about.
It is. It's learning and sharing together, not just hoarding your information and not letting anyone else know about it. You don't grow that way.
No.
You have to grow, whether it's just for your own benefit or for someone else. But I feel it's important to share what I've learned. People say, where did you learn? I've not been to any classes or things like that. I've not been to college. I say I went to the School of Hard Knocks because everything is hands-on, and I've learned it, but I'm willing to share what I've learned. It took me maybe 8 or 9 years to learn some of these things, and I'm happy to share with anyone that wants to know, because you've got to help someone. If you keep it to yourself, one day the art will die. So by sharing that ability, it really has helped. There's a lady here that lives in Littleton, further west of me. we've become very good friends because she bought some of my previous equipment that I was selling. And now the two of us do so much together that it's almost like we have one business, but we're under two different umbrellas, two different names. So
that's awesome.
You share your knowledge, it just grows.
Sure. It helps more than anything.
Yeah.
You know, if there's like a secret family recipe that's been passed down through the generations that you want to hold on, okay, maybe that's one thing. You know, like I get that. But yeah, no, I think what you're doing, it's fun to hear, and it's fun to see people light up and hear all those good stories. So, that's the key. That's key. You gotta love it. Otherwise, the business will just tear you apart. So
that's very true.
Well, like I said, Sharon, I want to hand the floor over to you. Give you however much time you want. Again, make your pitch. Let people know how they can find you. What else you want them to know about you, and go from there.
Okay. Well, I'm located in Highlands Ranch. I have a whole studio in my basement. I have an embroidery machine. Actually, I have 2 embroidery machines. I have a serger. I have a silhouette vinyl cutter in 2 different sizes. I have 2 of those. I have the large BN20. So if you need a sign for a business, I can do that. I have a machine which I just received. I haven't got it working yet, but I'm working on it. It's the one that prints directly to garments. I have 4 printers. I have a lot of equipment down in my basement, but I think my passion is getting the designs out there. If anybody has anything that they want to create and they want to know how to do it, I'm more than happy to work with anyone. My website is basically just my digital designs, and that's www.aintthatsweet.com. My Facebook name is the same thing, Ain't That Sweet. Can I give my business phone number?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I have a studio number, and that's 720-593-GIFT, which is 4438. Can't get a personalized one anymore. So I've got that. And I just love what I do. So I make, well, here, let's see. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I make tumblers like this. And that's me on that one. I do coffee mugs. I do shirts. I'm going into a gentleman's office tomorrow to show him a sample of a logo I did to put on embroidery for his shirts. I'm going to do that for him. I'm always trying to learn and grow, and I love the fact that I can make someone smile. So that's pretty much what I do.
Well, I love it. I love it. Oh, look, Sharon, again, thank you very much. Very talented, I think, for anybody out there. Bottom line, if you're looking for some sort of design or some sort of print, reach out to Sharon. I mean, it sounds like if there's something you want, there's something she can probably put together for you. And you're going to get some great, client relations, and she's just going to take care of you. So, Sharon, it's been a pleasure having you on today.
Kevin, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for your time and for allowing me to just share what I love to do.
So. Yeah, no, of course. Well, maybe we'll get you back on another episode down the road and see how things are going and share some more stories. So
will do. Thank you very much for your time. You have a blessed day.
You as well. Well, hey, everybody else. Thank you again for tuning in to another episode of Behind the Small Business. Again, this is brought to you by Centennial State Insurance Agency. Reach out to us today if you're looking for a personal or personal or commercial quote, to include auto. That is one of the options there. Also, if you're a small business owner and want to be on a future episode, you do have a story to share. And if you're, willing to come up here and tell the world all about it, I'd be more than happy to share it for you and give you a chance to talk about everything that you do and that you're passionate about. So that being said, we will sign off and we will see you on another episode down the line. But you're watching Behind the Small Business. My name is Kevin Andino, and we will see you next time. Take care.